If there's one piece of advice I could give you to improve all of your upper body training, it would be to stack and reach. Really, the root of all of our upper body exercises is going to be our shoulders. And if we had stable and mobile shoulders, we're going to get better muscle activation. We're going to have better longevity in the gym. We're going to have less setbacks, and we're going to be able to get stronger faster, right? So we talk about stacking. We talk about the rib cage being parallel with the pelvis. And once we get used to doing that, standing, sitting, and all the videos that we've learned so far in this process, in this workshop, once we understand that, we also need to understand how the shoulder blade and the whole shoulder complex interacts with that rib cage. And if we have a stacked position, our obliques, our intercostals, our serratus, everything that kind of keeps our rib cage in line with the pelvis, those are going to stabilize our rib cage. And if we're breathing and we're moving diaphragmatically like we've learned so far, if we're doing those things, we're going to keep that rib cage mobile. If that rib cage is mobile, then that rib cage is going to have a great relationship with that shoulder blade, and we're going to be able to stabilize it through all of its ranges of motion because we have access to all the muscles in that whole complex back there that support that shoulder blade. So if I can give you a good piece of advice as far as your shoulder blades go, stop packing them down and back. Stop trying to stick them in one position. Allow them to move, but do it in a stable way. The best way to do that is to keep that rib cage stacked over that pelvis and keep those obliques on regardless of what upper body exercise you're doing. If you can stabilize that rib cage will stay more mobile. If you can do some training exercises where you're alternating and balance those bilateral lifts, you're going to keep those rib cage and shoulders a little bit more mobile. And then you're going to be able to activate the muscles you're trying to activate regardless of what range of motion you're in for your pressing and you're pulling your arms, your shoulders, all the above. If we're stacked and we are ready to go as far as a stable shoulder, we want to think about reaching our arms away from us and creating as much length in the shoulders as possible. That's going to help stabilize that shoulder girdle and also create some mobility that we can maintain when we're lifting. So I don't care if you're doing a lateral raise like this or you're doing a chest press, you want to get the shoulder, get the arm away from the shoulder socket. You'll feel the stabilizers kick on, and you're going to have a lot more range of motion and better muscle activation in your pec if you're pressing or in your lats if you're pulling down, okay? So it doesn't matter what upper body exercise you're doing. Once your rib cage is locked in and you're stacked, you have those abs right here. If we're thinking about reaching, you get that serratus right here going on. We're going to start to see and feel ourselves be less shrugged. So a great cue in pretty much all of your upper body lifts, unless you're shrugging, is unshrug. Get out of this upper shoulder position like this elevated position, so that we can get our shoulder blades to have more range of motion down, forward, backward. We want all of those ranges of motion. But if we're stuck in our traps all the time and we're always trying to pull and squeeze our muscles together like this, we're going to stay in this position. So get unshrugged, get long, get away from the body, and you're going to be able to have more mobility and maintain mobility throughout all of your lifts. So if we're reaching our arms away like this, you're going to get that serratus to lock into those obliques. And I don't care if you're doing a bicep curl, if you're stacked, you got your abs on, and you're pulling like this, now your arm doesn't move as much because you've got this shoulder complex on. I'm nice and stable. My shoulder blade's kind of neutral, holding on. I can isolate my bicep easier. Or if I want to work my triceps here, get a nice little bent over position, exhale, I can feel all of these muscles right here. And now I can isolate the tricep a lot better, and I'm not getting this, and I don't have to use my momentum as much, and I'm not arching my back. I can get that shoulder blade to help me follow a certain path to open those tissues up. If I'm doing a shoulder press and I'm going overhead, which is one of the hardest ranges of motion for any of our shoulder work in our arms, is going straight up overhead like this. If I'm always ending up in a shrugged position, I'm going to end up getting blocked out and probably have some pinching and just not be able to max out with as heavy as I could if I was able to unshrug and reach and kind of press away from the body. That's why a landmine press or an incline press is so good for training this shoulder pattern right here. If you can keep your shoulder blade unshrugged and reach up and out like this, you're going to get what's called upward rotation of the shoulder blade. So as I reach up like this, the shoulder blade comes down and under, which takes my trap and kind of decompresses that a little bit and allows me to get more range like this, keeping me stacked. Now I can train my delts a little bit more isolated without the trap taking over all the time. If I'm working incline, I can work incline with my pecs a little bit more, and I'm not getting that crunchy or squeezed feeling in my shoulders. If I'm doing a single arm row like this, I want to make sure I'm stacked, get the body nice and long like this, unshrugged shoulders, and I can keep my lat the main focus without losing my posture and losing that stack. Now my shoulder blade's trying to figure out what my rib cage is doing, where it's going, trying to catch up with that, as opposed to staying in that lat the whole time and getting that good squeeze. So no matter what position you're in, if you're standing, if you're seated, you want to find that stack position, sit bones down, nice tall posture. You want to get so good at feeling your obliques on in all of your activities. Again, it's not over bracing, it's just a stack. Holding right here. I'm tight. Boom. I'm doing my curls. I'm doing my Arnolds. Doesn't mean you have to have a stiff rib cage. It just means that you're going to be more stable, which means you're going to be more mobile because you're breathing and you're moving, and everything is now integrated. It's not like your rib cage is on top of your low back, is on top of your hips, and you're moving around like this. That's why you don't have stability. Stability is not necessarily a single muscle thing. It is the integration of the whole system. So if you want rib cage stability, pelvis stability, get that stack, keep that stack, get those reaches going no matter what you're doing, and let your shoulder blades move. That is next level upper body training right there for you. You implement those ideas, you're going to feel a difference. Doesn't matter what upper body exercise you're doing. Upper body next level, that's how it's done. Very nice, I like.